Hi guys, today we're going to finish off baking that puff pastry that I made like a few weeks ago and never baked off. So for those of you wondering how it's going to look, it's going to be in this video, and I made palmiers. And they're called elephant cookies or butterfly cookies depending on where you're from. And this recipe or tutorial is really easy to follow once you've made the puff pastry, so let's see how it goes. So this is our mise en place. We need a serrated knife, some sugar and cinnamon, puff pastry, rolling pin, parchment paper, and a cookie sheet. If we're using frozen dough from a day or weeks before, we can defrost this in plastic wrap the night before. And of course, you can also use store-bought puff pastry, although you don't need to roll it out. And make sure that you preheat your oven 20 minutes before you start anything to 400 degrees. Here we're going to take 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and we're going to add in some cinnamon. And then we're just going to roll our dough out onto with the sugar instead of flour, of course. And we want this to be 1/4 inch thick. Check for evenness. Next, we're going to dissect this dough into 4 sections so that we can fold it evenly. So we're going to fold it twice on each side and then fold it together to make it look like a heart. And then we're going to cut this after rolling it in some sugar to 1/4 inch thick and coat that into the sugar as well. We want to add some more sugar on top of the cookies so that they can caramelize, and let's make sure to put 1.5 inches of space in between because they do spread when they bake. So about 10 minutes or halfway into the baking process, we're going to flip these palmiers over so they can caramelize on both sides. And this is how they look. We just put them in and they're starting to puff up, and they look really nice. But the trick is, don't flip them too early because you're going to end up with a pale sugar crusted palmiers, and on the other side it's going to be really nice golden brown crunch. So have some patience with these and wait around 10 minutes before flipping and just judge it for yourself to see if it's caramelized enough. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes. So this is how our cookies look after around 22 minutes. I added an extra minute or 2 because they weren't browning properly. The reason is because I did not preheat the oven properly. I needed to wait a lot longer than 10 minutes at 400 degrees. So next time, wait a good 20-25 minutes before putting your cookies in the oven. And the reason is, when you put it in the oven and it's only at 200 or 300 degrees, they're not going to brown properly. You can see that they're still kind of pasty white on the top. They could be a little more caramelized, and you could also put more sugar on them before baking. You can see that the layers are really, like, there's a lot of layers. And you see this gap here, like, that's fine, but usually people, when they place it on the pan, they don't squish it a little bit. These ears will split open and they won't look like hearts anymore. I mean, they're still fine to eat, but you know, it's your preference. And you can see they spread out a lot. So make sure you leave about 1 inch of space in between each cookie. And I was able to fit 12 cookies on this large cookie pan. And yeah, I know there's one missing because I ate it already, but yeah. So we're just gonna let these cool in the pan, and then we can eat them. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video.